Hey guys, David here, and welcome to Digital Outlook. Guys, it is official. So we are going to see the very first XRP ETF being available for trade tomorrow morning. Guys, this is going to tell us all we need to know. In fact, Canary Capital CEO had come out and said, listen, they believe that this XRP ETF is going to undo what we have seen, for Solana. In fact, practically double it. And of course, the pent-up demand for all these XRP ETFs, well, the first one out the gate, guys, is going to really show us a lot of what we could expect. Now, like I said this morning, this could be a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of event. And we may not get that jump start that we're thinking about, but down the road, do I ever believe that we are going to see a big time move because of these XRP ETFs? Right now, we know that XRP on the open exchanges is diminishing. Well, eventually, guys, that is going to cause a supply shock. I genuinely do believe that. And as a result, yes, we will see some upward pressure. And in fact, there's a lot of folks out in the space, and our good friend Jake Claver saying, hey, this pressure could really cause XRP to pop off here into the double digits. And he's not the only one out there saying it. We got a bunch of TA guys like eGreg Crypto, and there's other folks out there that are saying, look, you watch the demand for these XRP ETFs. And we could be looking at an $18 XRP in very short order. Now, I know there's a lot of people that are holding back. They've got their reservations. And of course, we're seeing it like from a charting perspective, where XRP dropped down under that 50-day simple moving average. And a lot of people say, hey, that's a bearish signal. But guys, we're talking about a different set of fundamentals, and anything could really change it. And we have not yet had our weekly close, because when the weekly close comes, that's really when it's going to tell. And so tomorrow we are all holding with bated breath to see just how this plays out. But whether we get a massive pump initially or not, guys, for the long term, Judy and I, absolutely, we are completely convinced and totally bullish on where XRP is going. And in fact, when I was listening to Coins Kid this morning, he was coming out and saying, listen, we could possibly see, if it doesn't do what we think it's going to do, it may drop down to that, $1.60, I think, somewhere in there. But then he's talking about that is just a wave 4 correction with a wave 5 ready to go. And that in early 2026, if in fact we don't see it in this, quarter, but by next quarter, it could really fly. And that's where you really got to build up your own confidence in what you're investing in. Now, a lot of the fuzzers, of course, if we don't see a major move, they're just going to jump all over that and say, see, we told you, da-da-da-da-da. And obviously, they're out there to sow as much fear, uncertainty, and doubt into the marketplace, with respect to XRP and your investment and things like that. But I want you to consider, when you've got all these massive whales out there, do you think that all these guys are issuing these XRP exchange traded funds with not thinking that they're going to have a market to sell it to? And that, of course, because they're spot XRP ETFs, they're going to have to be buying up XRP. Guys, they are going to be competing with one another to sell these exchange traded funds. And you got the SPACs that are banking, reserves of XRP into the hundreds of millions, even billions of dollars, Evernorth over $1 billion that they have as a special purpose acquisition corp just to buy XRP. Well, what in the world would these whales be all doing that if the whole thing was going right through the floor? That's where, guys, we can't all be whales, like I say. And I'm stacking my pennies next to their dollars. They are going out there and they are as bullish as ever. Now, of course, they use every mechanism they can to shake retail out and gobble up that XRP on the cheap. That's usually what happens. And when you see retail, I'll tell you what, retail, they are so predictable. And that's why the psychology of the market works, guys, because they've been doing it for decades upon decades upon decades. And they know that it works. They know if they just sow the fear out there, they get the narrative out there, they do all this kind of stuff, they can cause people like you and I potentially to capitulate. And who is waiting down there to gobble up all that fear? You guessed it. It is the major institutions in Wales. And they have no problem doing it, guys. It's all business to them. Don't be food for the sharks, guys. Don't be their chum where they just gobble you up and they can smell blood in the water, can't they? And boom, they are right there to absolutely devour it completely. And they're in a feeding frenzy, racing to see who can gobble up all your fear. Well, I'll tell you what, Judy and I, we are not afraid. We are about as bullish as we can be. And you got to get strategic. You got to be focused on where you're going, what your goals are, why you're getting there, and on and on. And that's where I've always come out and encouraged you to truly use your thinking cap. Guys, we have been at this for over 6 years now. And we have accumulated, what we are, what the amounts that we've been able to put aside so that we can see some of our major life-changing goals achieved. And that's the opportunity that we've got here. Look, the prices that we're seeing right now, when I see these prices and I think of the potential where XRP is going, do you think I'm crying? Absolutely no way. I'm looking at this as this is big time opportunity. And I personally do believe the day will come where people will look back at the prices that we see today. And guys, they will weep for the prices that we see today. And yet they want us to be spooked out like crazy. I remember seeing a tweet, and I think this guy's name was Greg Schwom. And Greg said, if I only held on to my, he regretted that he sold his 1,700 Bitcoin at 30 cents that he bought when it was 6 cents, sold it at 30 cents. And he was bemoaning that because the price of Bitcoin was $8 and he had 1,700 of them. Can you fathom what that guy must be feeling today? And that was back in 2011. Guys, when in doubt, you got to zoom out. Look at the long term of what's coming down the road. If we get opportunities to buy XRP on the cheap, well, I'm going to do what the whales do. That is exactly what they're doing. And guys, you got to go out there and really determine, what are you going to do? Are you going to capitulate to the fear if it happens? Or are you going to get on there and just say, hey, look, I haven't reached all my accumulation goals yet, and I'm going to take this as opportunity. That's how I look at it, because guys, the bullish, setup for XRP, in my estimation, is probably the best we could ever see for any asset in any asset class. That's my 100% biased opinion, and boy, do I ever believe it. And we have been here long enough to see it. The lawsuit, done, over with, finished. All these people saying, oh, they're not going to get these XRP ETFs. Well, here we are, guys, and not just one. How many? 10, 11? And on top of that, special acquisition corps. Multiples of those. I mean, you cannot, when you see what's going on, how can you deny the bullish setup that we're seeing? At least that's from my perspective. And that's why we get out and share what we do, because we want you to make it, guys. Really, really, we do. And I think some big deals are coming along. Now, having said that, we've got some things that we are wanting to present to you right in our exponential mastermind. And you can sign up for it right down here in the description of this video. And we, this Friday, are going to be doing a very special town hall to deliver a presentation to you. We can't talk about it on YouTube, but guys, we can talk about it in there. And there are some things, guys, opportunities galore in this space that are coming. And it is a big time deal. And we want you to be able to at least have an opportunity. And that's why we're throwing everything we are doing out there. And I would say this, guys, look, if you're thinking about how to navigate this space, how can you absolutely be able to pinpoint and identify the psychology of the market? How can you be balancing your portfolio towards the achievement of your goals and all that kind of stuff? Well, I'll tell you what, guys, that is something we talk about in coaching all the time. Had an amazing time meeting up with some fabulous people in the space today in our coaching. And I've got 2 sessions left for next week. And we only open it up a week at a time because things can change, guys, on a dime. And I would be out there taking care of our own backyard if it does the exact same thing that I would be encouraging you to do. So guys, if you're interested in that and you want to get yourself on the calendar, visit me at thedigitaloutlook.com and you can meet me there. I'll tell you what, guys, amazing things going on, and cannot wait to see what happens tomorrow with this first ever XRP spot ETF going live tomorrow morning for trading. It's going to be a big deal. So guys, I'll tell you what, until tomorrow, have an absolutely fantastic one and take care.